There we go.
They're full of water to start with, and then they freeze, and then just something happens.
Here's the copies that for you to sign, but if you want to reference them tonight, you can hang on to them. They're duplicate copies.
Sure. Got a lot of stuff.
That's just the start, isn't it, up there? You got a lot more to do around the village?
Thought it was 37,250, but it's just 37,2. Don't trust my memory anymore. Close up, no cigar.
Luckily, it isn't a big pop.
Yeah, quick. And slow.
Nice and cold.
What do you call it? Pick apart?
That's what I was trying to whisper.
Well, not all the world. So maybe if we actually set a policy on what that would be. Some just do it.
The fastest growing sport in America,
It is?
per Google, as of Tuesday, March 18th, so.
And you've heard it here.
There first.
Alan's and my brother-in-law, Al Heffick, is in
This is probably part of your presentation, I'm probably stealing your thunder.
What's that?
This is probably part of the presentation, I'm probably stealing your thunder.
Oh, you got the presentation. It's going to be very short and simple.
Oh, we don't like it?
Al's down there playing 5, 6 sessions a day now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, huge down there. Everybody down there plays
Sleep.
pickleball.
I couldn't sleep, and so I sat right through my laptop, whipped it up. I thought if it was entertaining, I would catch their eye.
Now being 7 o'clock, I'd like to call the meeting of the Board of Trustees for the Village of Dansville to order. Would you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Okay. Well, the first order of business are the minutes for last month. We have the department head minutes for February 14th, the regular meeting minutes for February 20th. We had a public hearing at the same time for the water and sewer laws on 20th. Then we had a special meeting and public hearing regarding the Cold War exemption on February 27th. May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Hey, make one of the meetings.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, we have a motion from trustee Zay. Second?
Aye.
Trustee Nagel. The second. Any discussion, additions, deletions, corrections, whatever? Not hearing any. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Privilege of the floor. Mr. Luce, the pickleball expert.
Not at all.
You are tonight.
Short-lived. In front of you are 2 groups of papers, and that's a layout of a pickleball court. Pickleball is just what Norm just said, one of the fastest growing sports in the U.S. It's worldwide sport. They're trying to even get it into the Olympics eventually. I was going to bring a racket and a ball so you could see it, and ran out of the house without them. But essentially, it follows similar rules to tennis, except it's sort of an old folks game because it's not played with a tennis ball, it's played with a wiffle ball. So it's not real, our caliber is not real fast. The pros, unbelievably fast. They swat that thing, I don't know how fast, but I can tell you, you can't blink your eye and they're swatting it back. It's unbelievable. But regardless, it's a pretty simple sport. It takes place on a small court. It's 20 feet wide, 44 feet long. Has a net, just like a tennis court would, a little bit shorter. It's 3 feet to the top of the net on the post. And my brother-in-law Eric, he asked me to see if we could get a place to play pickleball here in town. We've been playing down on the tennis court down by my house down at Babcock Park, using tennis court lines and just pretending there were other lines there for pickleball, but just basically for entertainment and some exercise. Now it's beginning to get popular in town, and we're thinking seriously of trying to start a league. In order to start a league, we really need at least one court that is laid out so that we can play real pickleball rules. I had spoken to Pete about getting lines painted on the tennis court at Babcock Park, because that's where we've been playing. He came up with a better idea, what I think is a better idea, of utilizing the skateboard park. So I went down and measured the skateboard park, and you could actually fit 4 pickleball courts in that fenced-in area. But I don't know that, first of all, I don't know if it's going to take off. I don't know if we'll have a league. I don't know if we'll have people playing seriously. I'd like to play 3 or 4 times a week. But what I'm asking is that, number one, somebody at Scott has it, the colored version of this. It has different colors for what they call the kitchen and the playing area. We don't need any of that. All we're asking for is to have 2 courts laid out on this side of the skateboard park. The other side has a cement ramp on it, so we don't want to be anywhere near that. But if we could just get the lines painted on the surface that's there, don't have to put in net posts or anything. We've got portable net posts and nets that we would set up when we play. We just need lines so that we can play the official rules. That's all. Lines are 2 inches wide, and it's pretty well detailed. The reason there's 2 packs, one is for a permanent pickleball court. The other is how you would convert a tennis court into pickleball courts, because you can actually put 4 pickleball courts in 1 tennis court. That's the difference in size between the 2, tennis and pickleball. Pretty simple sport, typically slow moving in my case. And that's my presentation. Questions?
You guys have already got the nets and everything you said?
Yep.
But you wouldn't be leaving them on site?
No, we don't leave them on site and set them up. They're temporary. If it took off, we probably would come back and ask for permanent nets to be put there. But then again, down there, it's supposed to be a skateboard park, and from what I understand, it's very rarely used. But regardless, maybe a growth pattern would be permanent nets on top of it.
Right now,
Right now,
they take
we
the
just
stuff
use our
down, the kids can
temporary-
still use it when it's not being used.
Yep.
What's the difference in, sounds a little bit like badminton.
For the wiffle ball.
It's more fun than badminton because you actually have to have you have to have certain bounces from serve,
You have
over,
to have a concrete.
and backs, and you're playing off the court. The wind affects the wiffle ball just like it does a birdie for badminton.
Yeah.
It's a cross between tennis and badminton. The wiffle ball for pickleball actually has 2 different size balls. One is for an indoor court, one is for an outdoor court. The outdoor court has smaller holes in the wiffle ball, so the wind won't impact it as much. It's a fun game. I think you'll see several people. Bill Kroll went to Florida, and he's now into it, and it's growing. It absolutely is.
Maybe you'll keep them off the roof.
Yeah. Yep.
Does the outfit 4 of them in tennis courts.
You can fit 4 of them in a tennis court.
One side.
Yep. Yeah, well, my wife has 2 artificial knees and an artificial shoulder. And she can't risk falling because if she falls, they can't repair that artificial shoulder. So her arm would be in one position. So she's very careful with what she does because she can't let that happen. And she even plays. So it's, for us old folks, it's a slow sport, a lot of fun. Good exercise. My brother-in-law, Joe Allen, has had several back surgeries. And he's another one that if he injures his back again, he'll probably never walk again. He's playing. They got him playing. He's moving around. He's actually strengthened his legs and it helps him walk. That's my presentation.
Anyone have any questions? Dave?
Scott, would it be hard to paint those lines? Do you have a painter and all that stuff? Any reason why we?
How soon do you think you get started? April or May?
It would absolutely depend on the weather, but I would say probably May, simply because I don't think, normally things wouldn't dry out enough to even get the lines painted on much before that. But it would depend on the weather.
I don't think painting them up would be that big of an issue, and if no one's using them, they want to get down there and play pickleball, let them play.
Yeah.
All the power to anyone who wants to get outside and get some exercise.
I don't think it requires any board approval for that unless somebody has strong objections to it. I would just say coordinate that with Scott, get it set up, and have at it. That's what the parks are for, to have some recreation, so why not?
Make a motion to approve Scott to do that?
You can if you want.
All right.
I don't know if they have to, I mean, you should paint some lines on the court.
Yeah.
Doesn't say to anyone that can't play in that inside there without a skateboard, I mean, I'm sure.
Do anything in any of the parks as long as you aren't damaging them. I don't see this happening with this crew.
We're the ones that get damaged. Every now and then you do fall. I've done it.
Little elbow and knee problem there, huh?
Yep. And
Okay.
anybody who wants to play, let us know.
Sounds pretty serious.
Nora might be right up your alley.
Be retired by
For the real daring, you got a low net you can jump over.
So it was 3 feet there.
You didn't fall over.
Fall over more than.
Well,
Thank
there's
you.
a concrete ramp down there, you can get a running start.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
Yes. Thank you, Dave, for
Yeah.
the humor and the,
Hey, you can go on YouTube and watch it, because that's what I did when I seen this on the agenda. I went on YouTube and watched to see what pickleball. I was surprised to see that.
Sounds inexpensive and sounds like.
They're teaching at the schools.
good place to get kids ready for tennis. Good game, the younger kids.
Tennis gets hard, I mean, there's a big, huge serve. I see this is all underhand serve. I mean, it's kind of more something that you could probably just grab a paddle.
No, but it'll help develop the skills that they would need later on for tennis, if any of them are serious enough to get into it. Okay, well, thank you very much. Now move on to Mayor's comments, correspondence. I met today with Matt Halliday. He's from the Genesee Figure Lakes Planning Council, and he represents NYSERDA, which is the New York State Energy Research and Development Agency. I believe that's what it's called anyway, or administration, something like that. And we talked about clean energy communities. If you remember when I came back from the NICOM meeting, I was talking about LED lights and all of that being replaced. There's a couple methods you can go about doing that. He's going to do some research into it and see which would be the best way for us to go. One is obviously that we can fund it ourselves, then you get the money back in the basically out of the cost savings. The other is you go through NYPA, which is the New York Power Authority. And if you go that route, you don't have to pay it back until the end, which is, it's a positive, again, it's how you use it, net positive anyway. You're making money because you're not using as much energy, and you just pay it back to NYPA through them, through that way. So basically, there's really no money involved. But he's going to get back with a preliminary assessment here probably in the next couple of weeks or so, hopefully by the next meeting. And we'll take a look at how that works. Let's see, last week we approved the NIMEP municipal Did we get that out at all? We got the initial form back to Ed Carey. So we'll just wait and see what they come back with on that, and then we'll, I guess from there, determine whether or not we want to go with a community-wide residential one, the CCA. We got community something aggregation.
Might turn into that.
Never know, never know. Oh, let's see. And grants, we really need to start taking a look at that. I asked Megan and Scott if they want to speak on the little session they went to, Syracuse, right?
Yep.
Last week. Thursday? Yeah, Thursday, yeah. Sounded like some good information coming out of that. So if you one of you want to talk about it?
I need just a couple of notes, just key points of things that we may look into right away. There's a lot of information. Our heads were pretty much spinning by the time we left. We brought home a lot of material. The mayor has one of the books we brought home. What it was called was State and Federal Funding, Financing, and Resources for Municipal Infrastructure. It was a round table kind of a setting. There were representatives from 8 different state and federal organizations, which is a pretty big deal. We did have the opportunity to meet the program director from the Homes and Community Renewal, and that's the office that has awarded the village in the last few years over $1.5 million in funding. So that was nice to put a name to the face and do that. He did talk about imminent threat funds, which we don't have any situations right now. We were thinking maybe the culvert, but that wouldn't qualify. We don't have any situations right now, but we do have the resources now so that if we ever did have an emergency or something happened unexpectedly, we know who to call and reach out to without having to apply for a grant through the competitive way of doing it, that they would be able to just give you funding to assist depending on what the disaster is. One of the things that I think we're going to look into a little bit, I'm not really sure how it will go, but they had talked about Green Innovation Grant Program, and we've been talking a lot about doing parking lots. I know we do streets every year, the parks, and what this is they'll give you funding, they call it permeable pavement, for streets, parks, parking lots, different things like that. It's just environmentally friendly. So that's one of the things that we're going to do some more research on. And then they'll also give funding for just different types of beautification. You just have to do it their way. You know, trees, bushes, you know, different things like that to spruce up streets. And that's not just like in your main business district, you know, it would be all over the community. They did talk about DEC and EFC kind of team together for funding for engineering planning. I believe we took advantage of this when we had started the wastewater treatment plant. And by doing some more research, we did find out that mainly is for clean water projects, but we'll keep that in mind for the future. When we had heard about that, we thought that would be good for a lot of our other projects because we pay so much in engineering services with MRB. But we'll keep our eyes open and see if they open it up for other things other than just clean water. And one of the things that we brought home was a field guide of financial support for capital projects. So if anyone has an idea that they're doing, we have this book that tells types of grants, the funding amount, the different requirements. It'll give you the contact information. It'll give you whether or not it's a matching grant or 100%, which that's a key question that we ask all the time. So we just have a lot of resources now to maybe try to go after some of these grants when folks have different ideas. There's a lot more money out there than I even realized.
The biggest problem is you gotta have the engineering assessment to get the money.
Mm-hmm.
That's spent it before you do it.
Which we've known all along. That's the only way you're going to win anything is if you got everything basically done beforehand, so that all you do is say, this is it, we're ready to go, bingo. Especially, and talking of the grants, remember a couple weeks ago, Tammy had gone to the NYSERDA briefing that they had, and she got for the energy code enforcement training, and she got a point towards what they call the community, or the Clean Energy Community Program, which is the state New York, NYSERDA Alberta. But we've got to come up with 4 of those points. And one is the CCA that Mr. Good was in talking about last week, the community. So if we go that way, that would be one of them. And you've got benchmarking, which is all we got to do is keep track of our energy use and whatever improvements or not, we're getting what they call it benchmarking. Adopt a policy to report the energy use. That's all you got to do is just a policy. And just keep track of what's going on in our different facilities that we have that we're using power in, which would be primarily water, sewer plant, and probably the barns, because this building here comes under something else. Now, there's also a unified solar permit, which is real simple to do. It doesn't vacate or override our local zoning at all. It's just a process that you have to go through and simplifies the process for solar energy. And LED lights, which we're already talking about. So it's not going to take a lot of effort to get this standard, this what do they call it? Branding, I guess you'd call it. And once you get that, you get this $5,000. Boom, that's it. And it also makes you eligible for other grants as well. So, and right now, like I said, they're looking at this particular program is going to be ending next year. And then they'll be coming up with something else, which hopefully that would get us in the front door on. So, just so everybody has an idea what's happening there. And the last thing I've got is something we've been talking about, and I don't know where we stand on it right now, but this is the Hornell Spectator, the Sunday paper from Hornell. And one of the front page items is great balls of grease. And you know how we've been talking about the grease in one of our lines, and of course we know where it's coming from. They don't know where it's coming from. So, I don't know, how do we stand on that particular situation? Where are we?
I have not gotten a response from the certified letter I sent them last week, but I did make up that brochure that, Scott just told me tonight. It's great. We're going to make up a bunch and take them to every commercial kitchen and the village of the Ensign. I can hand them out, face to face, hands on, and make contact. And
Well, in our one case, I want to make sure we follow up on that one right away.
yeah, the violation gives them 30 days because it's under I issued violation under New York State plumbing code, and anything that you issue under New York State code, New York State says they have to have 30 days.
I understand that. I'm just saying we need to push
So
it.
he does have 30 days to correct. If I don't get, and I haven't gotten a response yet, which kind of surprised me, but if I don't have a response within 30 days, then
I wouldn't worry about the response in 30 days. The correction's supposed to be in 30 days. I
right.
would see them
Well,
before.
that's what I mean when I say response. If it hasn't been, if he doesn't have one within 30 days, then we move on to insurance ticket enforcement.
Okay.
Because we have the first notice we received in writing from us in 1995.
Didn't we send out something on this, like, we gave direction, started on this a while ago?
Yeah. That hasn't been done.
I just got in on it last week. I don't know what was sent out prior to last week.
No, I wouldn't say anything was sent out. We've talked about this forever and a day,
Oh.
and nothing seems to have happened.
Okay, well, now something's happening.
Okay, moving on, legislative committee reports. Clerk? Aldrich.
There's no action expected.
Okay.
We did receive one response to our request for proposals for summer rec, and it's the community center, so I just uploaded that today. So we'll wait and see, those will be next month, so we can see if we get any more on that.
Okay.
And that's probably all I have.
Okay, everybody's heard the back and forth I've had with Kevin Maston concerning the large screen TV. Scott's been out taking a look at it, more or less.
And I talked to Timmy Wolfinger. He's got a place to put it.
Okay.
We can get it wired.
So I'll go ahead and let Kevin know then that, the board approves it to accept the donation.
It's 220.
No, it's a 120. 110, 120.
It was 2220, like.
No,
wow.
he got back,
Lords, they got welding? What is going
no,
on?
he got back to me and said that, he misspoke on that one.
I say, I don't know if I'd want a TV if it was a 220.
It does have a 20 amp receptacle on it though. I mean,
Well, I can understand what the size it
it's
is.
a big TV.
Is it, how old is it?
It's brand new
Brand
practically.
But it's an older version.
Older bird, that's what I meant, I mean,
Takes 4 guys to pick it up.
old style. It's new one, but I mean, it's like nothing.
You're pretty quick at assigning duty.
Delegate there.
He doesn't want to get hurt in case he has to play pickleball.
Got how to delegate.
Okay, does anybody object to us, why don't we go ahead and have a vote on accepting that? So it's
I make the motion we accept that TV.
Okay.
I'll second it.
I have a motion from trustee Zay and a second from trustee Nagel to accept the large screen television donation from, I guess it's Battle Creek Brewery, I guess it's
Battle Street.
Battle Street, what'd I say, Battle Creek? I keep wanting to say that for some reason.
I like that name though.
Yeah. Anyway, from the brewery. So, any questions? Trustee Humphrey.
Aye.
Trustee Rittenhouse.
Aye.
Trustee Zay.
Aye.
Trustee Nagel.
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye. Thank you very much. And we heard any more on the assessments stuff from Perkinsville?
No, we probably won't know until the first week in May.
First week, May. So we got another month yet, month and a half roughly.
And then that'll only give us a couple of weeks if we're not happy.
You want to put that on the action list?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure we'll be happy.
Okay, and the next item is the temporary meeting day change. We had talked about it a little bit last week with the trustee Humphrey. And the only issue I see if we move it to the Wednesday is that's also the third Wednesday of the month, which is the same time that the association has their dinner meetings, which I'm the president of.
I mean, I don't have any.
I can go, Monday works for me too, if anybody wants to do it on a Monday. How about you, Rob? Does that work for you?
Just Tuesdays, I can say.
Mhm. We're looking through June. Okay. Then we go back to our regular order.
But they turn into the third Mondays.
3 months of it, you think?
Pardon? About 3 months, yeah. April, May, June.
Staying at 7 o'clock, right?
Yep,
On the regular meeting,
regular meeting.
to be changed
Yep,
to Monday night.
just for those 3 months. Is that a problem for you?
Nope.
Anybody else got a problem with it? Okay. So how does that work for you too? Okay. Any of the other department heads have a problem with Monday night?
The third, second Wednesday, the third Monday.
Yeah. Make it the-
Still the second Wednesday, then the third Monday, and
Yeah.
the third Tuesday.
Mhm.
We'll do the day up.
Second Wednesday and third Monday.
Yeah.
Megan, that'll take me a little while to
Don't get used to it, because after July, it's going back.
June,
Well,
right?
I tell you what, Mike, I'll just go ahead and send out a reminder to everybody.
Yeah,
When they-
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Took me a long time to get the other one.
We'll need to put that in the, I guess probably is illegal,
Yeah.
and put it on our website so everybody's aware of it. We probably ought to call, even though they're not here tonight, Yvonne and Sharon, because they're really the only 2 public members that come here on a regular basis. And that hasn't been for a while. Give them special treatment. Okay. Let's see, what else we got here? That's really all I got. Public safety, trustee Nagel.
Hi.
Carry on, carry on, code enforcer.
My clerk did my report for me last week while I was at clerk school. I've now completed all the required continuing education, state approved training mandated for code officers and here. Did that last week. And right now, there's a planning board meeting for our brand new McDonald's. Yay! They want to start tearing down the old one May 15th, and it'll take 90 days before the new one's open, so plan something else from May 15th for 90 days.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Do they have something different for the drive-through, so if people want to
Yeah,
park
they're
out onto
moving the
the street?
building, it'll be almost the same footprint, except a slightly larger building, and the front wall of the building will face Five Star Bank. And then you're moving the the Maple Street driveway that's currently right up close to that Y right now. They're moving it all the way back to where their existing dumpster enclosure is right now. And so, and then Franklin Street side will come in on the same side, but you'll have to drive,
Around the building.
if you come in from Franklin Street, you've gotta drive all the way past the front doors of the building, over to Maple Street, and then down towards the point, and you order down at the point, where it's the front of the building right now, and then you come around the Franklin Street side, and you'll pick up your order right across from Wentworth. So it gets more people into their parking lot and off of Franklin Street. So.
And the easiest way would be go back out Franklin, but you will be able to cut across, all
Right,
it's
you
now
can go
jammed
back out
up with all
Franklin,
Maple.
and you can go out Maple, and it gets, it gets people off Franklin Street, and it gets people away from the intersection at Maple and Franklin. So, it's really nice, I'm really excited.
You're gonna have that remote, you can order from outside.
Not right at the moment, because they said that our McDonald's is special. All the McDonald's that this company owns, and they own 20-some, they said that, like 75 to 85% of their business is drive-through. But our McDonald's,
About 60, isn't it?
it's only 60% is drive-through, and 40%, which is unheard of, goes inside, orders, and sits down and spends time. We're special. So, but.
Well, there's a morning coffee crew,
There
Yeah,
is.
it's gonna mess them up.
There's a lunch crew that fills the
No,
place
that
every
is
day.
very popular when 390 people get off, they see the big
Yeah.
arches, and get a lot of hotels and stuff there.
Yeah, they're keeping the existing freestanding sign, and even though the back of the building will now face the point, if you come off 390, come off the exit, they have a pretty decorative treatment they're going to do, so you don't really realize you're looking at the back of the building. So,
Will that go to the same as like what's facing Wentworth? That's kind of the main thoroughfare there. It's gonna be the,
what's facing Wentworth's is where the K window and the pickup window are. So, yeah.
A little small at the top of such a big pine, so there's another sidewalk possible.
Franklin Street, I actually talked to T.Y. Lynn is the architect doing it, I talked to him today, and he said, before we get to planning board tonight, if there's something that's a hot topic, I think we have time to get squeeze sidewalk on Franklin Street. And, right now, they've only got from the edge of Franklin Street to the edge of their curb stops about 2 feet.
Unless you get the
But they're gonna,
plaza and the bank to go in on it.
unless you get the plaza and bank to go in on it, doesn't do any good anyway, but I haven't been here to contact Bruce, but I am going to work really hard to try to foster something with Bruce Markian and MBM Investments to get the sidewalk down to there at least. And they're gonna, T.Y. Lynn this morning on the phone said, we can look at seeing if we can, it wouldn't be a standard, they don't have the land to make it a full-size sidewalk though. But maybe something, even if it's not a full-size sidewalk, if it's just,
Just get it to their parking lot.
I think it's gonna be weird when people are driving, northbound on 36 and all of a sudden you look to your right and there's headlights facing you. If it's only 2 feet of,
no,
from the
that,
edge of the road,
Is that
No.
parking up to the curb?
well, then there's a drive-through and then the cars are gonna go around that way. They're
No,
gonna be
there's-
facing back south.
they're facing back south way over next to the building. There's parking spots. When I say curb
Oh.
stop, I mean
The parking
curb
lot
stop of
basically
I
is
thought
gonna
there
stay
cars.
where it's at, except that you won't be able to be
Yeah.
up against the building that way,
Yeah,
right?
when I say curb stops, I mean of parked cars.
Okay.
If you look now, there's like a 4-foot wide strip of grass. There's gonna be only like a 2-foot wide strip of grass. On Maple Street side, there's like maybe a 1-foot strip wide of grass.
You'd be better off just to concrete it in.
Well, that's what they said they would review, seeing about just concreting it. And then it would be a walkable paved surface, but it wouldn't be a standard sidewalk. But they didn't make any promises, they said they would review it and see. But it all still hinges on MPM wanting to play ball with the sidewalk. See what we get. right now, McDonald's, brewery's open. You all knew that, right?
Nope.
Oh my
Soft
goodness.
opening, you see that.
They're open, and right as of this morning, they had 4 different brews already on taps. The taps are running, they've got 4 different ones, with 6 more lined up in the next month, I guess, come. The sign says on-time arrival. And I don't know what, I don't drink alcohol, so I don't know what standard beer alcohol content is, but they have it on the board next to the times. It seems high, 7.6%.
It's up there.
It's what those ales and stuff are.
It seems high, so you won't notice that when you're standing there, things are a little crooked. It's a little crooked, naturally.
Seven's a strong, fairly strong beer. Seen them higher, but not a whole lot.
So, I hope everybody at least stops by to see the place.
I think we've done a thing, but looking over it before that thing.
And me. Brings back some memories on this stuff.
Should I mention the ZBA? You want me to mention
Horses,
the
my
ZBA?
horses there.
Pardon me?
You want me to mention the ZBA, the digital sign, the digital billboard?
Yeah,
Yeah, correct.
brought it up. You piqued our curiosity.
We got the chairman here, so why not?
Yeah, the billboard, that faces 390 and Claire Burton Street down here, it's a 2-sided billboard. The side that faces 390, is owned by, what's it called, Lamar Outdoor Advertising. They want to change it to, a digital screen that changes the entire thing, just instantly changes every 8 seconds. So they figure that at 65 miles an hour, they can get 4 advertisings in front of your eye instead of just 1. Well, that's in violation of our zoning law, so they're before the ZBA. And because it's on 390 and its location and everything else, it has to go before county planning board. County planning board's already reviewed it and said no. So now our planning board, or our ZBA, has to review it, and you guys, decide to send it back to county and ask county to...
Board in the past that we go back to the county and ask them to relook at it, because there was, first of all, the applicant said they were going to the county meeting so they could show them the presentation that they had with this sign. They did not go. So the county acted on what information they had provided. And based on that, they assumed it was a 2-sided sign, not a 1-sided sign. They felt that there was no control over the lighting, meaning the brightness of it. So those 2 things, and because it is a use variance, it requires financial hardship as part of the variance process. So because of those 3 things, the county planning board disagreed with the application. If we'd have voted, if the board had voted at our last meeting, we probably would have overridden it. I think everybody on the board is basically in favor of the sign. But they've seen a picture of a display of the sign.
A video of what they look like.
And it took the worries away from almost everybody that was there that was negative to the sign. So the board voted to go back to the county to ask them to relook at the application. The applicant agreed to go to the county meeting this time and show them exactly what that sign is. It's actually, in my opinion only, the school sign down here changes every 3 seconds. So it's actually flashing versus this is a sudden change, not a flash, every 8 seconds. So it doesn't appear in the presentation to have any startling effect. And these signs are becoming very popular in the state. The DOT has already preliminarily approved this sign to their standard. But they can't approve it formally until they get a variance to actually have the sign there. but it meets all of the DOT standards. So yesterday I called Heather Ferraro and asked her if the county would relook at it, because in the over 20 years that I've been doing the ZBA, I've never had that happen. So I didn't know if they could or would. She didn't know if they could, but she's agreed to get back to me, and she liked the approach of, my drive with the ZBA is, we shouldn't be fighting between the planning board and the ZBA. The ZBA shouldn't be fighting between the county and the ZBA. We ought to all be on the same page. And that's what I want them to get out of this, is that this is the first digital sign in Livingston County. It's brand new, nobody knows what it's gonna be. The experts, meaning the applicant, they have a program showing you exactly what it is, and I think the county needs to look at it, because just as Nancy Nice said, it was at the meeting last meeting, do one and more shall come. So they ought to be prepared for this for the future. And so right now, I have not heard anything back from Heather, but I hope that they will agree to look at this again, get all the information so that they've seen what we've seen, and we aren't the scapegoats for something that is bad in the county. I want them to understand exactly what it is. And then if it gets a variance, we get a variance, and we move on. But at least they'll understand.
Is there a prototype piece or a video or something we could go online and look at?
They would have to come and present it to us on their computer, and actually,
Maybe if you go to Lamar Outdoor Advertising, you might have something on
maybe.
the website.
Probably gotta use
Apparently, they have
Google it
about
out.
20 of them in the Rochester area.
Where is this, back up because
Right behind Manny's Motorsports.
yeah, right behind.
Oh, okay.
There's an existing billboard there.
There is.
It has what's called two faces. One faces 390, one faces the hospital. And the application didn't say we're only doing one side.
Right.
So both myself and the county that didn't see their presentation initially were like, no, this doesn't sound good. But then I went to the meeting on Thursday night and they did the presentation to the ZBA and said, no, we're not going to do the side that faces into town, that faces the hospital and stuff. That'll stay as it is. We're only doing the side that faces 390. You will only be able to even see it from 390.
From one direction or the other?
Well, you'll only be able to see it heading north on 390, heading south, it's behind you.
What is the purpose?
So that they can get 4 advertisements in front of your eyes instead of just one.
For advertising.
Yeah, it's
Or
only
can
for
we use it
advertising.
for, if there's issues with 390 shutdown, things like that, can they also put those on there?
Well, actually, they offered
If there's an accident or something.
offered the village, the mayor can tell you, they offered the village to have, was it 2 months worth of,
Yeah, I didn't pay a lot of attention. I was waiting until we got a
Re-advertising?
little something more firm down before I got worried about that.
apparently if we give them the variance, they'll give us 2 months of free advertising each year. So we can
Basically,
put
that's
up.
what it's for, is
the-
advertising.
Yeah, it's just advertising.
Or we could use
It's
it for
ju-
emergency use
You
too.
want to advertise events
Just
in the
advertise.
village, that'd be an ideal place to
Just
do
Well,
it.
they did say that in case of an emergency, they can flash a sign. They can quickly do that.
All computerized.
But, yeah, but that wouldn't be from us, that would be from the DOT or
Right,
the
that's-
state.
yeah.
Yeah,
So that's a village issue?
it's before the village zoning board of appeals.
Inside the village limits.
So, I think that's all that's put off in test for right now. If anybody have any questions for me?
I'd just like to back up real quickly, not for Tammy, but right there at the top of the list under public safety, we've got the Seward Street culvert. There was a discussion last week about what we were going to do with this. There's been some research done, talked with the people in Albany. That does not, the culvert does not fall under an emergency situation. It's with delayed maintenance, is what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Which means it's probably not gonna help us a lot as far as getting any money or anything, but I think we should still go ahead, pass a resolution, and I've prepared one here. Please close that down. In light of the Florida International University incident, give one, I got an extra one here for Megan. It says, resolution declaring the Seward Street, Bradner Creek Culvert unsafe for vehicular traffic. Whereas New York State Village Law, Section 4-412, empowers the Board of Trustees with providing for the safety, health, comfort, and general welfare of its inhabitants. Whereas the Superintendent of Public Works and its engineering firm, MRB, have noted that the concrete deck, or the culvert carrying Bradner Creek under Seward Street, is deteriorating, and whereas such deterioration poses a threat of collapse when the vehicle passes over it, and whereas such collapse could cause injury or death to persons and damage to such vehicles, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees for the Village of Dansville declares the Seward Street, should say culvert there, carrying Bradner Creek, I'll have to reword that one anyway, but anyway, carrying Bradner Creek underneath unsafe and close to vehicular traffic, and that the Village of Dansville will put out a request for bids for the providing of a new concrete culvert to replace the current structure. Because it's not an emergency, we'll have to go back through the regular purchasing process, which is a RFP. Again, it's not a whole lot different than before. It's just going to be time consuming from what it was before, because you got to give them more time to do things, and we got to come up with the RFP. But it's still a situation, and hopefully with the application that the MRB put in for the Bridge of New York, we'll have some sort of positive result. I'll at the same time also address this with further with Assemblyman Arrigo and Senator Young.
My concern is, Mr. Mayor, is that one is the only one to be tested.
That's correct. But that's the only one we're going to be able to do this year if we're going to do anything.
Okay.
The others have not shown any signs of a problem. It was recommended that if we were considering doing anything with those, that we put it all in one package and go through the was a CFA program, consolidated funding. Which wouldn't be available if we got a grant through that. We wouldn't have it until next year anyway. And this bridge right now is, unless somebody wants to take a gamble, but I'm not willing to do that and say that with the...
That's the point. I want to take a gamble. No, I don't want to take a gamble.
Yeah.
Sure. You know, I'm sure the board doesn't want to take a gamble. But thing of it is, that's the only one we tested.
Correct.
That's the next street up goes, and so we just test that one.
And right now, the only one that's showing a problem is the one on Seward Street, and that's in the deck. If we don't mess with the other ones right away, we'll probably be safe there. But my thought is, let's go and see what we can get done with the one that's in bad shape. At least close it off. And also, at that time, we can look at going forward with an application for all the other bridges that were built the same time frame.
For the safety, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
Those of you aren't familiar, the culvert on Seward Street, it's right up there by where clay runs into Seward. You got Sophia there. The culvert that runs under is about 90 feet long, and the deck is showing some rather serious deterioration. So much so that when they took a boring of the deck, they couldn't even get a boring. It crumbled as soon as they cut into it. Just fell apart. That tells you how bad that situation could be. Now, did they say it's going to crumble tomorrow and the whole thing collapse? Probably, I guess what they said was probably not. But then I don't think they thought the bridge down there, that pedestrian bridge in Florida, was going to crack.
The thing of it is, we know about it.
Yeah, we know about it. We got a responsibility to make sure that the public is safe. We've already had one hole in a road this year. We don't need that one we didn't know about.
We also stated that due to the fact that it's in the village,
Mhm.
and if we were to block that off, it's not like you're asking someone to drive 4 miles out of the way. It's a couple of blocks and you had to go around. So it's not like we're disrupting, someone to drive all the way down around through Groveland and back if, let's say, 63 was cutoff, so.
maybe a couple
You're
hundred yards
talking
out of the
maybe
way
a
at
couple of
most.
blocks, I mean, but for the safety of the village, I think that it's very important to make sure that once we're made aware of it, then we have to do something.
I
And
agree.
we're gonna hope that the bridge will be fixed by this fall, but again, there's a whole process that comes between this, but it's not like we're putting people out and have to drive miles around. We're talking maybe, if, the person who lives right next to the creek had to go back around, you're talking 3 blocks.
Even so, we can't use the bridge, whether they have
Yeah.
to or not.
No, it'll still be open for foot pedestrian
Yeah,
traffic.
that shouldn't be a problem.
But, I just don't think that, I mean, once we're made aware of it, how do you not address it?
We know about it.
Yeah, I did talk to the comptroller's office, and they said in the situation that we could use those streets without going for an RFP.
The OCR said no.
They're the ones that audit us.
Yeah, but,
I'm just saying the time frame.
but they're not familiar with all the details, I don't think. Well, she went up there and looked at it.
Told her the situation,
Yeah.
and she said in that situation, that's what we do.
Phil said no. Said that is a, if the bridge were, if it were like a dam getting ready to burst, that would be an emergency. This is just delayed maintenance. We can close it off, doesn't affect anything really, it's not an emergency.
Is this something that we'll still be able to get on some sort of a timetable for the fall?
I don't think we'll get it in the cycle. I don't know, time to do an RFP, it'll be a month and a half. That was another reason, and that's what she said, because of the time. But, she said, well, maybe you should call her tomorrow and talk with me. I understand what you were told, but yes, it'll put us, I have actually got a letter.
You need to get that concrete orders in, those.
I'm saying, but you can't do it until after you have your RFP and all that stuff done.
Well, you can still do it. As I mentioned last week, I don't know if anybody was hearing me, that's what you have the fund balance for.
That's right.
No, I don't mean the money part, I'm just saying the time. That's the issue, with getting it built. Because if we wait 2 months to do an RFP, we go through that.
Doesn't mean you can't order the stuff now. Well, I see what you're saying, because the RFP would be to the concrete people, but we already know what the results are gonna be.
And if you don't, if it goes to an RFP, it's
Why would it be
it's kind of
different?
an unfair bid now, because we've already bid it out, and now we're going to bid it again. So,
I mean, look at better,
we got a pretty good price as it was now. I mean, we had a very good price this time.
You gotta do it right.
Hey, I'm all for that, but I think we should call and find out what the plans are with the comptroller's office, like you say, they're the ones that audit us. Because I wouldn't have went ahead and got the bids if they
Let's see,
said we couldn't.
Wednesday, we're all set to go with this thing.
Yeah, it's all here tonight, but.
Well, that's another issue. Right now, let's decide on this, resolution. One thing at a time, get ahead of ourselves a little bit.
What's an RFP?
Request for a proposal,
Okay.
bidding process. We send out letters to any of the qualified engineering firms, take a look at this, and, or people that manufacture the culverts, give them the specs and what we want from it. So, which wouldn't be a terribly difficult one with this. Okay. Well, let's say at a very minimum, we need to close that off.
You need to move on that.
The other question is, and sorry to hold you off, I should be with until after tomorrow morning.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
did you go down and talk to them last week?
Well, begs the question, if we make a resolution and close it, how big is the emergency to close it, like, so we should make the resolution, I mean, you know?
It is the main bus route.
We were worried
Oh,
about it.
I'm just saying, let's say we make this resolution, we close it, tomorrow they load that bus up, and for some reason, that's the day. Follow me?
Hey, all I know is we voted on it tonight at 8 o'clock.
I would say if we close it, that we, as soon as we can close it, we.
All they gotta do is go around Sophia and,
Do they-
Chestnut.
Did they talk to the bus drivers and stuff and say, okay, let it,
We've got to put some road posters and no parking signs on Sophia, so we can make
You got any Jersey barriers? We're gonna have to put on there, cause I can tell you right now, people are gonna find ways to go through it otherwise.
Down there, William Street Parkway, you throw across the
no, because I don't want someone hitting it. They can't even negotiating a fountain in the middle of Geneseo. Not gonna hurt my blocks.
Ain't gonna hurt your block.
Nope, you're not touching my
Like if we
blocks.
vote this through, can we go barricade on it tonight and say, it's bolted, you shouldn't go with contract?
I think once you make if we're gonna deem it dangerous tonight, it's dangerous as soon as you vote it dangerous.
Kind of what I'm saying.
It's kinda dangerous
Somebody
last week too.
throws a fire truck up through there tonight, if we voted to close it, and it's not closed,
So we have to notify 911 when we're done here.
I know a guy.
Pretty quick.
Fast on your, whatever.
Just moving it along, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, I got it. Well, what we can do is go ahead and approve the closing and the request for bids. I'll follow up on that tomorrow. And get back to everybody with that part of it. Confirm it one way or the other.
Make a motion that we move forward with the resolution.
Okay, a motion from trustee Rittenhouse. Do I have a second? Second from trustee Humphrey. Discussion further. Hearing age. Trustee Nagel.
Aye.
Trustee Zay.
Aye.
Trustee Rittenhouse.
Aye.
Trustee Humphrey.
Aye.
And Mayor's an aye. Resolution passes. Thank you. And I guess now we move on to probably the chief. Don't see any firemen or ambulance people here. They probably need to be notified too.
Yeah, that's why I'm letting 911 know right now.
I can't.
Well, it's not closed right this second. You gotta get some barriers up there first.
First thing
All
in
the barriers are in route, you know.
At 8 a.m.
Yeah, what's the
Barriers in route. And is it okay if I go see the planning board still down there with the vinyl?
Go ahead.
See you later.
Thank you, Chief. So I think the addition I heard last week, pretty much speaking with Tammy on the code, and spoke with Scott Quick on his Monday, working through 117 Main Street, and we had a sewage problem, and we just pulled the health department apparently, it's not within their jurisdiction to do it, that's a local thing. So we haven't yet heard back from the owner as to what his remedies may or may not be. I was kind of hoping that they would do something, but I think the owner should probably get some help with it. I'd probably do, you know, so, you know, there may be a question coming up here in the near future as to whether we shut the water off it, you know, try to clear the sewage. If we decide to do something like that, just a heads up, if that's a decision that's ultimately made, Tammy's gonna need at least one day to type up a weapon violation notice to the rec department and post it. If an employee will be unfit for occupancy, they have to walk. So, it won't be a flip switch type situation, but if we just don't, we make a decision to turn the water off, it's done, you know, that won't be part of it. So it'll be fairly time consuming, and we should check if you guys are really great question that we decide to do. So it's more, it's fun, only the brain, it's just more of a heads up that that may be where we're going with this, where we thought 6 months ago we were going with it, and we were able to get the violations corrected. We may be back at that point again, thinking about that, they responding, and the problem. Just a heads up. Never been down the road before, so we may.
Isn't that only way?
Day by day.
Traffic to them?
The health department wouldn't get into the switch back.
No, first impression, they thought they would, but, kind of call back. Not sure exactly how everything is progressing.
Gotta keep on 'em.
They've got, hopefully they're gonna come to court Wednesday night, right now, they've got the court Wednesday night. They've got, one count of littering for, pile of mattresses, couches, hot water tank, and televisions that are stacked up behind the building, it's placed aside the dumpster.
On the ground?
On the ground. They got, a charge for the sewage that's coming up through the drain there. And they've got 2, which is now right, but today gonna be the third, 3 violations for not getting their apartments inspected. Which then that triggered last year's agreement, that brings back, I think, 6 counts of failure to get apartments inspected, that they got an ACV. The jury assuming they were gonna follow the rules, which if they didn't, that would trigger those charges come back as well. So I know the owner's supposed to be in court on April 18th. For one of those, I think we'll be back in court on April 18th, because I think that's probably the 6-month ACD. So one way or the other, we'll be back in court April 18th, but in the meantime, we're trying to get in court tomorrow night to deal with the other issue. It was all process.
Is that it?
That's all I've got.
A couple more things in Tammy, I can get with her tomorrow.
That's it.
Okay.
Justice, now.
Anything else?
I've done here and I've been getting justice report.
Hey, budget, finance, and audit, trustee Rittenhouse.
They set some dates for the budget workshop, public hearing.
Yeah, public hearing, I think we all agreed will be the next department head meeting in April. So I believe it's the 11th. I think that's what we were talking about last week. Anybody disagree with that at all? We'll just open it up at the beginning, which means we need to set up a workshop. We can all sit down and go over that. So you all should have copies now of the tentative budget where it stands. I still gotta get I got my message half constructed, but. When would you like to meet for a workshop? Saturday, weeknight?
Well, I have Thursday, Friday this week, and then over the weekend, a little bit of time, and I'm leaving Tuesday for sunnier places,
That's not fair.
and I won't be back until the 8th of April, which is the,
Yeah, Sunday right before the meeting.
and then on Monday, I'm on call noon to 8, so on Tuesday, I'm well available at this point.
Next Tuesday?
Monday you can't, Monday you can't.
And I'm on call that day, it's a noon to 8 day. So, April 10th, I'm available. Unless,
We probably want to get done before then.
which is fine, because I'm definitely available. If you guys meet my phone, I can definitely be a part of whatever it is, even when I'm sitting on the sunny beach. Throw that out.
Yeah, are you
It's
going,
snowing here, I'm gonna
are you
throw
going
that
somewhere warm by chance?
out. Well, yes, as a
But you
matter of
can't-
fact, I am.
But you can't vote by phone.
No, that's okay, but
Thursday's no good for me. Friday I'm good either way. Saturday morning, I don't watch cartoons often.
Yeah, I'm fine. And either one of those dates, well, let's see, this is what, the 23rd and the 24th.
I'm fine the 24th in the morning or whatever. And then, the 25th, I'm available in the morning as well. It's a Sunday.
Sunday I'm not available, but 24th I am.
Tom Sunday, my phone is open.
Yes, it is.
Mine doesn't say it.
Proclamation, right?
No, we're in,
This is March, that's this coming weekend.
Calendar, that's
Yeah, that is March.
right here. Calendar here. in your phone.
24th.
right.
Hand it over to you, Mike, if you like.
No.
Want to make it easier to read.
Saturday, the 24th. What's today's date? The 20th. Yeah, Saturday morning.
Okay. Good for me.
What
Time,
time?
9 o'clock?
9 a.m.
Okay,
How long does it take usually, Andy?
pardon me?
How long do you think they'll be?
I wouldn't think more than a couple hours.
Okay.
Pretty well set. There'll be, some discussion on a few items, I think, but other than that, most people won't have too big a problem.
Just go through it tonight when I get home.
Yeah.
The budget.
Talk about
This
it.
is our budget. And that'll give us a little bit of time to get that announced.
Yep, okay, moving on, that's all set.
We can go,
Establish,
go ahead and get the advertisement out and, the public hearing on that.
Yes, we won't be able to put it in the paper or anything for your workshop.
No, I'm not worried about the workshop. You just have to tell the press
But
about
we'll
that.
get that online and stuff.
The workshop's just a regular public.
public hearing,
Or a
guys.
regular meeting.
Throwing that out to you guys right now. Public hearing.
It is public, so you can attend.
Yeah, establish,
Nothing better to do on a Saturday
specific
morning.
reserves, I don't know if we wanna do that tonight, seems how we still got a full load in front of us, so we can just keep that on the, items for next month.
Yeah.
I mean, moving on, budget modifications, there are none. Special billings, wastewater, composting none, and housing rehab grant none. For bills, under general, paid checks 16735, 16802 through 16813 in the amount of $20,783.16, and we audited the checks in the amount of $62,265.74. Under water, we paid checks 1394, 1395, and then 1413 through 1422 in the amount of $12,144.08, and we audited the checks in the amount of $21,095.73. Under sewer, we paid checks 1203, 1205, 1231 through 1236 in the amount of $19,105.55. We audited checks in the amount of $27,864.64. Motion to pay the bills.
Have a motion from trustee Rittenhouse to approve the general water and sewer bills. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from trustee Humphrey. Any discussion? I'll only say I'm not going to vote because one of the bills in there is for me, so I'm going to stay out of it. I don't have to vote anyway.
Oh, yeah, if I'd known that, we maybe would.
Okay, so any discussion, further discussion? If not, trustee Nagel,
Aye.
trustee Zay,
Aye.
trustee Rittenhouse,
Aye.
trustee Humphrey,
Aye.
and I make it 4-0. Good, thank you. Motion
All
passes.
right, there are no bond payments, and under MedX billing accounts, Livingston County EMS for $5,175. There was a patient reimbursement for $178.80. MedX invoice 2018-3 for $1,638. Village of Dansville payment, $9,955.94. Dansville ambulance a payment of $12,168.38. Motion to approve the MedX billing account payments.
We have a motion from trustee Rittenhouse to approve the MedX billing payments. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from trustee Zay. Discussion. Okay. Trustee Nagel?
Aye.
Trustee Zay?
Aye.
Trustee Rittenhouse?
Aye.
Trustee Humphrey?
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye. Thank you very much. Okay, moving right along. Public Works. Trustee Humphrey for water and sewer.
Didn't have anything specific, but Scott?
No, we were at the wells today, finishing that up finally. Surge anticipating valve finally put in up there, so that project's about complete on the front well, a little bit through on the back, and have that upgrade project.
What about the water flowing around down there at the intersection of Park Hills and Park?
That, well, infiltration, heavy runoff, maybe got under control for now, that's gonna have to be looked at. That's kind of an issue over the years. The line on Park Ave, got some issues. It's all the water that comes out of the plant, backflow stuff that causes that. So we can control that, but it's a.
It's all sewer, right?
Pardon?
It's all sewer.
Yeah,
Related.
it's overflow out of the plant, which is clear water, but.
Mhm.
So, we'll have to look at that, to see what we can do to totally solve that. It's not gonna be easy to fix.
How often does that do that in a year? Maybe once?
If you can catch it quick enough, you can stop it, and you really gotta pay attention to the weather.
Chief, did your mother have any trouble?
You guys can call, boiling out of the manhole cover.
But I mean, didn't get into her basement or
No,
anything?
I just, probably 25, 22,
Yeah, you didn't have to pay tax on that pool either. Almost an in-ground, big ol' throw a carpet in.
I used the ponds
It's
up there.
clear
free
water, that's good water there, it's already.
Get a building permit?
Hey, and you didn't even have to put in a fountain.
Sorry about that, I have to get back to myself, you feel your
You
quiet.
probably wouldn't feel quite as jovial once you saw it.
Quiet. You said you're gonna sit over here and remain quiet.
Okay. What else you got, Scott? Anything else in water and sewer?
Water
water and sewer, I mean, we do have the plans way out on, you know, probably over 2 gallons a day right now going in. So we're gonna do some smoke testing and things, which is,
You're talking
put
about
off a
sewer
long,
plant,
long
right?
time, yeah. It's, there's a lot of infiltration, not ground water.
Did they do the flow test before? Remember why we approved that they were gonna do flow
They have
test?
not, no.
They got
Now,
wets.
if they're getting a lot of inflow, it'd be
This
good
is
to
the
know.
time to do the wet
This is the
testing.
time to do the wet testing. I mean, if we approve that, they should probably be out doing it now.
Like the plans are, they're not cheap if you do it.
Supposed to dry up probably.
Probably. Not supposed to get much this week. It's just runoff coming off the hills and that.
Well, the snow too was going on the ground. really
Yeah,
slow.
that's what I'm saying. It's just
Perfect scenario for you.
perking up.
It runs off. Probably pumping on these two, then, once you got to pump these, those things stop. Really, like, pump all down, these pumps also down.
I'm concerned. My sump pumps haven't been running at all.
I wouldn't be concerned, I'd be happy.
Well, yeah, but it makes you wonder where it's going. Because there seems to be a lot of snow out there somewhere. Creeks are flowing. Okay, well, moving on to streets then. Trustee Zay. He turns to Scott, says.
Scott, how are you?
Streets are pretty quiet, other than the brush pickup, and, boys are trying to patch the holes as they can, but, weather doesn't cooperate. But they're pretty much on brush. They've been doing it for the last week. Hopefully the snow will go away and start in on spring cleanup.
No.
All the muscles we made around town.
Okay.
I only had one question. Remember the Verizon pole down there on the,
Mm-hmm.
did that ever go in? Whatever happened?
No,
to that?
that's, we're actually going to approve that this afternoon, or this evening.
Oh.
I got the contract. Got the contract right here.
I just drove by it the other day.
Yeah, right here it is.
Okay, never mind, disregard.
That's the
Moving on.
number 2 under unfinished. It was the contract itself had to be taken care of. We sort of said go ahead with it, but I gotta have approval to sign off. Does that mean they mow it? No. Always looking at an angle, aren't you? Nothing wrong with that. Okay, Parks and Recreation, Trustee Zay again.
Well, we had the guy for the youth football field.
I guess there was a little discussion about that last week, about what we want to do.
I haven't seen any paperwork back from
There
them.
has- I haven't seen any either.
Articulate on, so I think we just kind of table that and wait till we get some paperwork. to look
I
at.
agree.
Okay.
And it would be my-
That's fine.
my thought.
Put that on the action list.
Load it up.
Okay, and moving right along to technology and energy. I've added that on now. NIMAP, we've talked, the sheet of paper's gone in for the Muni program, and then we'll see where that goes after that as far
Have a
as
good
the...
night.
Yep, take it easy, Dave. Rest up for your next game.
Thanks, Dave.
And there's really no change right now in the walking tour, other than that the planning and everything for that's going along. I say that's been included in the budget for next year. Relatively inexpensive way to promote downtown. And that brings us to our list of things to do.
I was gonna back up just a hair.
Sure.
Any update on the, Christmas lights?
Not since our last discussion.
Is that in here to vote on?
I don't think so. It might be it's on the tentative budget, maybe.
It is in that.
Yeah.
Didn't we say something to him last week? Did we okay that last week?
It wasn't last week.
Okay.
It would have been the regular meeting.
We should then, if you want, we can add that if nobody objects to the under unfinished business.
Sure.
Yeah, it was, it came up, it was 1,800, that's what he's looking for, and he has a little bit more if we want. It's been budgeted for next year already, actually a little higher, so, covering the expenses. you enough wiggle room in that. But right now, I'll entertain a motion then to approve his project.
At the $1,800?
Yes. Have a motion from trustee Humphrey, second?
I'll second.
Second from trustee Nagel, discussion.
I didn't see it, so I'm just gonna abstain, because I wasn't here when he did the presentation. Not that I'm against it, I just didn't.
It wasn't much different than what we talked before. I mean, he didn't have any specific design or anything, it was just,
We came back with a price.
yeah, that's really the only difference. But, okay, trustee Nagel,
Aye.
trustee Zay,
Aye.
you want to vote?
I'm gonna abstain.
Okay, trustee Humphrey?
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye. Passes 4-0, with one abstention.
I
Fine.
just didn't see it.
No, that's fine, that's fine.
I'm sure it's gonna look good, because he did the lights up here, and I'm sure it's gonna, I just didn't.
Yeah.
And the town's already in too,
Yep.
you know, and other community groups, I mean, we're not the only.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great idea, I just,
Just kind of wonder, you know, it's gonna, once the word gets out, you know, people come from a ways out, just come to see it.
I'll work by it.
Well,
yeah, we might have to charge you to get down Main Street.
Trying to get people from
First
Perkins.
time up Sword Street.
I think there's a,
Just wanted to get when it gets good, and the good gets going.
I know, election night.
Oh, I thought maybe
yes,
they
what,
talked to the
what,
brewery.
something going on in Geneseo is more important than Dansville?
We're just happy to see you guys out and about, this is great.
Well, it's too bad, in all honesty, it's unfortunate that you have to move the meetings back to Monday, because being on Tuesday gives us, because every other
Oh.
village has their meeting on Monday night.
Well, this is only for 3 months we're gonna be there, so you're welcome back in July, we'll see you there.
Yeah, I'll see you back there. But-
And
Nice on that
we record our meetings, they're on the our website,
Right,
so
4 months later.
shouldn't be.
No, that'll be on there. Hey, I'm fighting
Okay.
All right, so see you
Good seeing
Thursday
you
night.
guys.
Yeah,
Thanks, yeah. Good to see you.
Take care.
Good to see you.
I resemble that remark.
Yeah, we're happy you could stay with us longer.
So, we got Kurt in there. I apologize for forgetting all about that. I don't know how I could have done that, but I did. Okay, so, first item I want to bring up is going out for an RFP for a capital improvement plan. Have any of you seen, has everybody had a chance to see the auditor's report? And that is a key element of the complaints against us. If you want to say it's a complaint, but certainly one of the shortcomings we have, we need to rectify. I've already done some looking into that. We got to have our response into the Albany by the end of next week, the 31st. So, go ahead and get
Response
this.
out the bid?
Well, no, that'll be part of it, yeah, that we're actually doing something about it. But, and also trying to look around and see if there are any grants for that, to do it. 'Cause I don't think it's really within our scope to do that the right way. It's gonna require a lot of work to, determine, what it is we need and how to prioritize it. They gotta evaluate a property, the assessments on all of our equipment and all that stuff, which is really probably more of a thing of getting with our insurance company, getting a lot of that from them, because we do have that. But there's a whole list of things. I was thinking about how I do that. I'm not going to do that.
You guys gotta remember, I mean,
I just like a professional to do it so it looks right and the board has clear guidance on where we need to be going. I mean, we're looking at a lot of it's water and sewer, but there are other things as well. And it'll take a little while. And then our future budgeting really is determined by that. Or should be. I would entertain a motion to authorize me to go forward with an RFP. The RFPs won't cost us anything.
make that motion.
Okay, a motion from trustee Rittenhouse. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from trustee Humphrey. Discussion? Okay, trustee Nagel?
Aye.
Trustee Zay?
Aye.
Trustee Rittenhouse?
Aye.
Trustee Humphrey?
Aye.
Okay, I'm an aye as well.
Even though every time you go to say Zay, you wanna say Rittenhouse.
I know it. I almost got it out that time.
Yep.
Don't ask me why. I know, it's just because we're both with the county deputies. We're shared personnel. Okay, next one is the lease for the property down, well, to put the pole up down there at that node, down on the triangle by Mickey D's for Verizon. I just need authorization to go ahead and sign off on the contracts and everything.
I think we already did do that, so I mean, does anyone else have any issues with it? I'll make that motion that we move forward with that.
Okay, a motion from trustee Rittenhouse, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second from trustee Say.
Way to jump on it.
Discussion? Okay. Let's start at the other end this time. Trustee Humphrey.
Aye.
Trustee Rittenhouse.
Aye.
Trustee Zay.
Aye.
Trustee Nagel.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Thank you. I will do that first thing in the morning. Get that taken care of. All right, this one here I'm not too familiar with. It came in the other day. They're bids for the truck, pickup truck.
I didn't know we did bids.
You asked to have the bids.
Oh.
We had two.
When was that?
It's been a while, it's been too long,
Yeah.
2 months, RFPs, they take a while.
Am I getting that old?
So, we did 2 trucks, the only problem is it took so long with the second truck, you can't order it now. So,
No, these are pickup trucks. Yeah.
These are.
Don't go there,
budget
Mike.
items,
well,
Put them all together, you get 10 wheels.
depends how we take one.
Which budget we take, all right.
So, there's only 2 bidders, Wentworth and Rick Spur, or I think it's Rick Spur, Spur Chevrolet. And, so what I did, if you open up Wentworth's, and you'll see on the first page, we've got in there that it has to be ordered by March 22nd, and also see that on Spurs, so that's, so, what I did is, the Spur Chevrolet, when I first saw the bids, I thought they were cheaper, but when I looked at the bids, Spur forgot 3 items that we put out on the RFP. So that's where you see the numbers on Wentworth, that I just put those in by hand and highlighted what it would come out to.
Mhm.
So actually Wentworth is cheaper on this truck. I don't know how we missed them, but we did.
Okay.
You can see it if you look at the total options on both figures. You'll see that Wentworth's options were $34.95 and Spur's $23.95. So that is basically that's the 1-ton truck. There's a crew cab. So that's the one I said that we would get, so that way we could pull the trailer in the wintertime. Basically a pickup truck that's a 1-ton instead of 3/4 ton, a little heavier truck. So,
Just a dually?
no, it's a single rear wheel.
Okay.
And if we did that, that would be the truck that I would drive, and I would give my truck to Bob, because it's got, he looks like to get back the truck, it's small and back. Bob doesn't really need the crew cab, that's the double cab. And then, because we did them, they both kind of gave us an option. That's why I wanted to handle these out separate, so you guys don't get really confused. So this is a 3/4 ton. Wentworth bid it as a crew cab, because you can't order the double cab now. And the Spur Chevrolet, he just basically is gonna try to find a truck, that's already built. The only problem with that is, you don't get the things you want. You might not get the color you want, you might not get this or that, but after I looked into those, again, the spec sheet that Spur gave us, which is a window sticker, he located the truck. Basically, if you look at the last page, Spur located that truck. That's a truck that's already built on the ground at some dealership. And then I compared it to Jimmy's, and that's where you'll see where I wrote those options. That's all the things that basically Spur, that are not on the truck that Spur located. And that comes up to $3,000. So again, if you do the math, Jimmy's truck came in at $30,448, and Spur's with a bunch of options and Spur's is a double cab, Jimmy's is a crew cab. So he's still, what, $1,400-$1,500 cheaper for a crew cab truck with all the options on it. But it, and the reason Jimmy did a crew cab again, because it can be ordered by this week. And then it's it for the 18th, and we gotta wait for the 19th. So, but if we ordered 2 trucks, we could put one in this year's budget and one in next year's budget, because they would come in June, right around end of May or June. So, because, when you do this RFP, it takes a lot of work, and it's a lot of, Megan can tell you, we took us, what, a month to get things done, it's a lot of work. So that's, Bob's truck shop, we know that, and basically we sold the one for my shop, that's gone, sold it off, and that was Frank's old truck.
Well, the burgundy one?
The white truck that we have is the one Ronditis used to drive, that's old. So, I'd like to keep that around as long as we could, and maybe Bob's just to have, one of the summer guys take it just from home, so we had to use it, But, so, that's where we're at with those.
We get these in the same color that we want.
Red, right. I did think that's what we decided, right, red?
Yeah, we wanted to go with one color and just kind of start all over.
We're going everything red, because our dump trucks are red. Red stands out good.
Keep the standard stuff red.
Yeah.
Not the red. We keep those yellow.
Maybe.
The depreciation went down really quick. You're paying them red.
We can order orange.
Okay.
So you have in your budget to pay for one.
I can pay for one this year, then next year's budget, which you guys got approved.
Is it in there though? Another truck?
Is it in there as a line item, or is it something you're going to have to take out of your other stuff now?
Well, I have a line item in my budget, to pay for the whole truck. We have to decide how we want to pay for them. Do we want to take them out of all 3 budgets? Which I think we should, because the truck will be using all 3 funds, but that's up to you guys.
They do. I mean, in the end, it always seems like, no matter what we buy, it always seems like it always is floated on the general, but yet used by water and sewer as well. Now, it's not gonna be used on water and sewer as much, but how do you know the percentages?
Everybody's going to argue with it.
No,
Well, they're taking my highway truck that's going to water.
Yeah.
So, there you go. Water should pay something for another truck. That's how I look at it. We should pay for all the share. Put the good share.
What percentage you looking at?
I would
50,
just
quarter,
go right at
quarter?
Third, right across the board, Yeah.
Does the budget support that?
Yeah. I don't know what you're gonna do next year's budget, but I can this year with you.
Well, we'd have to know next year's budget, because if you're proposing the next one would be quarter as well, right?
Out of next year's budget.
Or third. I mean, we'll pay 75% of it, I just think Jim Day might have an issue with it.
We want a 25% cut on this thing.
Jim, you got the other kind. That's right, third. I mean, I do see, if there's a water main break, them trucks are all sitting at it. If there's something going on, they're all there, and especially when you look at, every time there's a water main break, if the loader isn't owned, loader's all 100% highway.
No, there's, actually the loaders, we do have some on hold.
Okay.
Like we do a lot, we like the last loader is, but the dump trucks aren't in it, and they're always there. They should all ship in.
Now, is next year's budget to have a line item for the pickup?
It's not a specific line item, like in my budget, there's a line item for equipment. So, not that line. I'm saying for the, again, budget hasn't improved, so.
No, but we do, hey, you can't walk around with a wheelbarrow. Point blank, these trucks,
Yeah.
we haven't replaced anything, and are these gonna be able to have something you can put a plow on if you need them? You have the plows and stuff if we have
These
them?
two are both with plows.
Do we have that equipment, or is that something more that we have to go purchase?
We have to purchase that. But we would have to go get them tomorrow or whatever.
What's the ballpark on those?
We're probably around $6 each.
cheap. But they would come already with a harness and.
They're all, yeah, they do love your snowplow, that type of thing. Yeah, I mean, if anybody wants to see all the bids, they're here in the packet, you know.
So we're good.
I just tried to make it as easy as I could so you guys, because it does get complicated. You know, when guys don't bid the right things, it makes it hard.
So you're recommending go with Jim on both of them?
And then stage one in this year's, our budget we're in now. And then, because he said he would all let us set a few weeks, whatever we have to do to get into that.
But he can't do at least 1 year before for this year.
Yeah, because he didn't know how they would come, you know, one will probably come before the other one. But it's still gonna be right around that time.
Worst case scenario, he can get the paperwork done for us.
Yeah, he said they're, you know, they would probably get the ground in May.
Any further discussion? Questions, rather?
I think we should make a motion, I'll make a motion
A motion from trustee Nagel,
that we,
buy both trucks, one for this year and one for next year.
both trucks from Jim Day and, from Wentworth. One for this year, one for next year.
Wait, we second?
I'll second it.
Have a
That was
second.
That was for the 2,500?
One's at 2,500, one's at 30.
I got a second from trustee Zay. Any more discussion? Not? Trustee Humphrey?
Aye.
Trustee Rittenhouse?
Aye.
Trustee Zay?
Aye.
Trustee Nagel? Motion carried. I'm an aye as well. Okay. Moving right along. Need to vote on on replacing the loaders. Discussed that last week. That was gonna cost each one how much more?
So, I talked to Cat again today, because I was concerned. They were, the quotes that they gave us last week were on a 17 machine. So the new machine would be a 17. I didn't want that, I wanted an 18. And I know the issue with those guys, they quoted it on the hours they're on the machine now. The 18's gonna be here, they'll, you know, on May. So they agreed they'd give us 18s. So now I feel a lot better, because I was gonna.
Same price?
So what will happen is we're gonna have well over $600 or so on this machine, so it gets the price really cheap as far as hours if you look at it. You get $600, $10 an hour, $6 grand, or $11 an hour, $12 an hour. So it's a good deal for us.
How much more were we looking at paying out of our pocket?
Other than, it's $7,500 for each loader,
Yeah.
but we don't have to pay any more. When they get here,
Okay.
that's the deal.
So we can use our loaders as much as we
We're
want
just
to
keep
now,
right out and use them, and to me, it's like free running that thing.
except for fuel. Make a motion, move forward.
A motion from trustee Rittenhouse to move forward with the purchase of the loaders. Second.
I'll second.
A second from trustee Nagel. Discussion. Gotta be fast, Robin.
You can't get in. We're gonna send you a smoke signal on the next one.
Okay. You have to give him a warning shot. Okay, trustee Humphrey.
Aye.
Trustee Rittenhouse.
Aye.
Trustee Zay.
Aye.
Trustee Nagel.
Aye.
The mayor's an aye. Okay, now, let's go for some heartache.
So I did talk to Jack Lyons. He said if you had it today, you'd get $180,000 written check. He said next year, I don't know what the economy is, I don't know what Mr. Trump's gonna do, so, what I.
So if we buy it for 168, he'll give us 12,000 right now? So if we buy it for 168, he's gonna give us 180, we're 12,000 either way, we're buying this baby. Motion to approve. We're paying for half that truck tonight. Sorry. I'll be quiet.
Famous last words.
I'll say it again, I'm sure.
And I did, I called Cat, because I've been going around now, I want a warranty put on it for a year, so we don't have any issues with it. And I'll be ready writing tonight, verbal, but that would be a contingency that has to have a warranty put on. So we don't have any, who knows if things blew up, we would not look at this.
So that was 168, right?
And we can still use it for another month's rental on the diesel.
So really, it's gonna come down to 161.5.
And they gotta throw a warranty in. We're not paying any warranty.
And so then that means even if we can get 140 out of it, you're looking at $21,000. I mean, we don't have a guarantee for the 140, but, you're looking at $21,000, which is basically 3 months of renting it, is what you're basically gonna possibly have into it.
No guarantee of that, though.
No guarantee, but also, I mean, as we've heard, a lot of these, some of these things, if you take care of them, they appreciate a little bit. I don't know, I mean, we can't do the projects that we have planned without it. We can't do the creek down there unless we rent one. We can't do Seward Street without having one here rented. So we know we're gonna have to, how long is it gonna take you to do the creek down there? If you were dedicated to it, it'd still take you 3 weeks. Okay, so Seward Street, if you were just dedicated to that, how long is that project gonna take you? Months?
It's a toughie game, because I'd say, it would be a couple months anyhow, I mean.
There's your 3 months.
We can spend it on wheels on this, let's do something about it.
I think we approve to buy it. Move forward.
I'll second it.
Motion from trustee Zay, a second from trustee Rittenhouse. Further discussion. Where's the money coming from?
Yeah.
We couldn't rent, I don't know how we buy.
Well, I think you take it out of your fund balance. It's the only other way you're gonna take care of it. I mean, again, this is about a long-term investment for the village, because we have projects. Let's just say this. Let's say that every one of those bridges that are in a row, let's say there's issues with each of them. There's that. There's the creek. You gotta go down the creek. We gotta do the clean out. I mean, Scott gave us a list of projects that we have to get done. And there's no other way. I mean, again, if we sell that thing in 1 year, we put the 140 right back into the reserves, and yeah, you're $20,000 behind, but based on budget numbers, you're gaining money ahead. I mean, it's a flip-flop one way or the other.
Like I said, the difference should come out of the budget, our budget, the regular budget, for rent, because we have that in there, pay rent, like I said before.
So if next summer we say, hey, look, we've had it for a year, or maybe this fall you look at it, and when our projects are all done, and you go, okay, we've had it, and, we look into if there's an auction or whatever, and we say, okay, we're done for this summer, and you want to sell it, you put the money back into the reserves. We wouldn't roll it over into anything. And then the difference is what you take out of, like Scott says, out of the thing. I mean, I don't know, unless someone else has a better way and wants to put, I mean, because once we say, okay, we're going to do, we bought blocks. We bought $30,000 worth of blocks that we've got to put into the crib. Which that $30,000 worth of blocks turns into $36,000 because you're going to at least need the loader for 1 month. If we take the $100,000 bridge, if we don't have that, and you have to, put it out to someone, there's $300,000, that pays for it alone. But if we do it with our manpower and with this, you're still going to need $12,000 or $13,000. It's going to probably take 2 months at least. It's not like you're going to find 4 straight weeks to be on it. I mean, again, it's tough to swallow, but this village has been neglected for so long, and there's projects need to be done. I mean, even when you call there and they say this is based on maintenance delay, not on emergency, that's our problem. And again, do any villages own one of these? No. Do any villages do the work that our guys do? Can they do the work? Would any other village tackle Austin Street? We ended up paying and rented that to go up there and box that out and everything. I mean, but no other crews. They're paying Ramsey or another company, Sealand, whoever it is, to come in and do this. I mean, we have the expertise to try to get these projects done and save the village money. So even though an expenditure like this is a tough one to swallow, if we don't have things like, we can't do these projects ourselves. We have to go rent. And again, there's an avenue. Yes, Jack Lyons didn't give us I'll give you the 140 next year. But we know that he's probably in that ballpark. That's my take on it. And I'd be happy to hear any other comments from any of the other board members.
I think we've talked about it, and talked about it, you know, I think that's what the reserve fund is for. You know,
We walked
sometimes you
away
gotta
from
fight a
Well,
bullet.
it's not really for that. If we're talking about the fund balance, that's not really what it's for. For emergencies, when you got that rainy day that pops up on you.
Well, we just shut a street down for that proverbial rainy day.
I understand that.
And we walked away from this. We didn't discuss this for a month or two, because we walked away from it, because we were like, well, but now you come back to these projects and you say, well, we did, tonight we voted because one of our streets, truthfully, two of our streets we just shut down, because you can't go up to use the end of Clay Street now, because it's dangerous, because they did a core bore on it, and the core bore fell apart. Wasn't even testable. I mean, we were trying to do the right thing and say, okay, how much more time do we get out of this street before we really have to act? So we spent the $1,500 to do the core bore, and guess what?
Right.
They couldn't even do it.
And I think if the rainy day comes where we need that fund balance back, and we sell that thing. You go to an auction and you get what you can out of it.
Just a minute ago, we said we had the budget in the rental to begin with.
Not for the whole purchase. I mean, for the use of it, yes. I mean, like, if we go to rent one next year, I only have enough to probably pay for it for 3 months, and that'd be it. And it's done. So,
I just think with the previous rental we've already got into it, we're getting another $6,500. You know, and if the rainy day comes and all of a sudden we need $150,000 or
And
whatever.
this is rolling all that FEMA money into it also.
That's what I'm saying, we've already got that.
So the price on it's not
Previous rental.
168, the price is technically,
well, it's 200 and what was our price? 230 brand new. We had brand new.
and now you take off all the FEMA money,
You can almost
brings it down, plus another
$70,000
$6,500,
off it.
and we're gonna get it for the whole summer to utilize, and that's why we gotta get on these projects, get them done, so.
Gotta get going.
So that if it comes down to it next year, we say, hey, it's gonna be better if we don't own this anymore, and if we need to worry about it later, then we can always look at a different, we can go a different direction, but we need to make sure that this machine is being utilized for the projects that we're actually gonna have it do. I mean, if that means when they deliver it to the dam, so that while you're waiting to do whatever, you can get whatever you need done up there, and then have it hauled down to wherever, down here, so you can get your permits until that's done. At least them two are done, and we know we can get the FEMA money into it, and then get rid over on William Street and get.
There are enough projects you shouldn't be sitting around.
Yeah. I mean, so, I'd hate to make this purchase and then have it sitting. I mean, I understand there's gonna be days where it sits, I get that.
I'm with you on that.
We need to really start moving forward with all of these things so that we can, as a board, can say, we're supporting our highway, you know, but these are the projects that have to get done, and these are the projects that are getting done. Rather than saying, hey, it's sitting down here at one of the parks and it's not being utilized.
Can't set. None of stuff.
Well, it's gonna set something.
Oh, yeah, no, we understand there's gonna be days where it sets, but we gotta make sure that we're getting going on things, so that in the spring, we don't go, well, I still need it for another year. Now, again, we may decide in the spring, hey, well, there's more projects to do, and then we may make that decision at that time. But right now, we say, we have this to get done, and that, all the way here, let's get her done.
Any more comments? Robin, you got anything?
Again, it all makes sense, but we gotta push forward to get this stuff done. Not the next week, though.
I'm trying to think of a good way of putting it in words.
You can sing it if you want.
That we're gonna, different people, there's gonna be people questioning it, some good, it's, has to do for everything, and they have it right there, It's a good word to put to people, but why, how is it happening, why it's happening, and things like that.
We seriously gotta throw in there the trucking in and out if we rent.
What?
Trucking, if we rent, rent it, okay, we rent 2 months, then it's done, there's $1,000, comes back, there's another thing, so that all adds up.
not necessarily gonna get done, so.
Our trailers, will that haul it? It won't.
I'm all for getting it.
Okay, there's nothing more to go.
Why don't you go resell on it?
As long as there's a warranty on it, make that whole thing contingent on the fact they do put a 1-year warranty on it.
Trustee Humphrey?
Aye.
Trustee Rittenhouse?
Aye.
Trustee Zay?
Aye.
Trustee Nagel? Yep. There's reluctant aye, but I guess, find out in a minute. Okay, the motion carries. Let's take a break here and we'll go to new business and get a couple of easy ones out of the way maybe. Mentioned last week, we declare April Fair Housing Month. This is part of our Office of Community Renewal Grant programs. So I will entertain a motion to declare April Fair Housing Month. Have a motion from Trustee Humphrey, second?
I'll second it.
Second from Trustee Zay. Discussion? Trustee Nagel?
Aye.
Trustee Zay?
Aye.
Trustee Rittenhouse?
Aye.
Trustee Humphrey?
Aye.
And Mayor's an aye. Next one is the Town Hall lease. That's $37,200. Anybody would like to look at it? I have it right here.
How much did that cost this year? $2,035 last year.
Right? Is it 35?
Yeah,
Yeah.
$2,000, huh? Aye.
You're thinking now.
No, I'm just waiting for somebody else to say something.
Well, let's have a motion first to approve the lease with the town of North Danville, the use of this building.
I'll make the motion.
I have a motion from Trustee Zay. Do I have a second? Second from Trustee Humphrey. Okay, now discussion.
Is there any way we can lock in any longer than a 1 year? Because it seems like the last couple of years this has started creeping up on us. I mean, last year it jumped 500, I think from 35 to 35.5. And now it's jumped 2,000 this year to 37.5?
37.2.
Oh, well, we'll still call it $2,000, almost, 1750. I mean, is there something that maybe in the future we could do something a little longer so that, you know, hey,
Yeah. Certainly ask him. I don't know what went up. Why it's gone up.
I don't know, did we raise fire protection or anything? I mean,
Well, we did a little bit.
well, we raised a little bit, how much was a little bit?
1,700.
Wasn't it like 3% or
2 or
something?
3%.
Yeah.
I don't recall off the top of my head, but, you know, we all raised on each other.
Based on recommendations from one of their chiefs, who actually works for the town. Ron sits on the town board. Includes all of our power. I don't know how much that runs them. Water and sewer, it's free to them. I don't know what they get from county for the DMV. The argument has been right along, of course I can't see it going up, but the argument has been right, the reason we pay the rent to begin with is because it's as high as it is because of the expansion of the building that was done primarily for the village. I don't know, I don't have all the details on it, so I can't tell you how much we're paying out of our lease for that. That might be interesting to ask about sometime. I'd like to see the breakdown why it is what it is. It should be available, I would think.
And those payments that they make on the building should be right in their budget.
But it doesn't benefit just us, because it benefits the DMV. They moved out of the auditorium to the old fire, no, the truck garage, and got the court's been expanded for both the town and the village. They also brought the historian up out of the cellar.
It looks pretty good.
I haven't seen him in a long time, so I couldn't tell you. He may be back in the basement.
Well, it's not like what we're gonna do. We're not gonna move
No,
out
not,
for a year.
not for this one, but I guess we should probably put that on our list of things to, action list to check into. Yeah, we'll give you something to do tonight, maybe. It's been a long time since you've had to add anything.
You can wait till tomorrow.
Well, I know that we entered into a discussion with them last year on the code enforcement officer and the fact that was raised a little bit on them. It looks like maybe this is just something where they're kind of throwing it back on us.
I think it's fair for us to ask for a breakdown. Just like we would from the fire department and the ambulance when they want money. Why? How much do you need and why do you need it? I think that's asking too much. Okay. So, any further discussion on that? Trustee Humphrey? Aye. Trustee Rittenhouse?
Reluctant, aye.
Trustee Zay?
Aye.
Trustee Nagel? And the mayor's an aye. Thank you. Okay, now we got a whole bunch of proposals here. And I'm guessing, actually, for one, I'm going to hold off on the bottom down there, discuss and vote on concrete box culvert bid. Quotes, actually, but still going to leave that one out of the figuring for the moment till I get answers from the state. And let's see, we'll go to the professional services for the water system study, preliminary engineering report, $44,500. What exactly is that getting us, Scott? Is that the whole system?
So basically, the whole village,
Yeah.
all the water, and, they'll do hydrant test, flow test. So basically, it's what we need to get the grants. There's a lot of money coming down the pipe, I tell you. A lot of those that we went together, there's what, 7 there, and they kind of all overlap, so, you get so much from this one, so much from this one, but without that report, you don't get anything. So unfortunately, there's a lot of money to spend. And I know some of them, you can recoup that money, but
Is this one of them?
it depends where you go to get the money. We can do more research on that if you want. But it's something we should not kick the can down the road because that's how Whalen got $3 million. They had this done.
This is all part of the
Part of our
stuff
infrastructure.
the governor for the grant money for infrastructure.
Right.
Water,
Yeah.
sewer.
Do you remember which one was because he split it in, like on the last day, do you remember which one that was?
That was on,
We talked about?
that was for the bridge.
Yeah, the bridge.
Oh, the
Yeah.
bridge stuff, okay. So it's nothing to do with like any of these?
No.
No, just the water
The first
system.
one that's available is in June. We have a hard time making that. I mean, if I remember, supposed to be for the next round. But there's definitely money out there. It's just a matter of.
Where's that 44.5 come from?
It's gonna have to come out from down out of the water fund, which is very
Pretty sure we go again with a damn fund balance. Again, lack of piss poor planning around where there is piss poor planning here. Right, almighty. Everything's now coming out, you look at it, it's like a cash cow, and it's not.
Well, it's either that or we look at our budget, see what we can not do this year. We want to do hydrants, valves, put the money in that, or just, way we do it. Because that budget's not bad if you not a lot of money in that budget.
No, there isn't. Okay. Any other comments, discussion? Will we ask for a motion? Or maybe we don't want a motion.
I think on that, we want to look at, try to figure out where the money's to come from without, the upper one we've been talking about for months.
Mhm.
This was something that kind of came to us last week. And so I think that needs more planning. Not that we want to kick it down the road, but it's
Yeah.
definitely, the other one we've talked about for months. We have a plan on recouping money if needed and, how to pay for the difference. This one here is something that's new enough, although it's very important to us for future
And I
Just
say
think
we've
that-
already got several studies going on as it is.
Well, it was very much, all of these came into me last week, I was kinda like, oh, I didn't know they were coming, so. It's not that I wanna kick the can, but I just think that we need to be able to look at the budgets and say, okay, if this is something that is that important, which it is, let's look at the budgets and see where that money would come from, or at least what portion we can get out of the budgets to, and maybe at the end of this year, if there's some things that we don't do between now and then, there'll be some extras in the, if there's anything left.
We should put that on the next list. Down the road.
I don't think we need to put that on the action list.
Well, let's just make sure it stays under new business, or
Yeah.
unfinished business for next month.
Yep,
Because we're gonna have a meeting between now and then to discuss the budget.
Budget.
Do you know how many of those grants are closing, like, you said one in June?
Which we'd still never be able to get to.
Right, that's what I'm saying, but if it's June, July, August, September,
Oh, the next round, yeah, I believe, I know how that is on there, or how they,
like, if we're getting under the gun, it's just something to keep in mind. I'm saying, because those deadlines are the deadlines.
yep. Jeff, do everybody a favor, don't put that in there.
You can leave out anything I've said, I'm good with it.
Pearls of wisdom.
Someone's gonna be involved up here.
Okay, so you want to just table that for now? We'll take a look at this, okay. Okay, let's look at another one. The professional services for the culvert replacement.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
that's all due for, just, I'll answer your question quick, but it's all due to the Army Corps of Engineers, DEC permitting. That's the only reason it's done that.
So, good answer. Now my question is, so at what point does the village have the ability to fix its infrastructure without going and having someone engineer it? Now, it's a box culvert. Huh?
We were in a creek, we'd be done. Unfortunately, that creek is.
Most bridges kind of encompass a creek.
Protective screen, but the Army Corps handles that screen.
So they're gonna add, we're putting a new culvert in, it's gonna look just like that one. Here, let's take a picture and send it to them and say it's gonna be prettier concrete that's not falling.
Bruce Bach is gonna have to go over and do a bunch of work, just to satisfy those guys. They have to do models and this and that, I mean, it's.
So after this 15,500 to do that, where is the next money pit, other than the 90-foot box culvert? And then we're gonna have all the pretty stuff to, add up and in. What else is out there that we're going, oh, this is where the money's gonna, this is gonna cost you?
You mean on that job?
Yeah,
The box is the big one.
okay. But I'm saying, okay, the box, what was the price on the box?
We said the whole project would be somewhere between 100 and 150,000.
It won't be 150. The box is around 41.
The total estimate when they applied for the grant, I think she put 240, right?
That was based on
That's
us contracting it out.
Not us.
So, like,
We got
okay,
lucky enough and we contracted out, great.
41 for the box, 15.5 for this puts us at 56, we'll call it 57. Where's the other?
Blacktop, and we gotta buy some more of those big rock to finish off the ends and some railing and things like that. It should come in well under 100.
All right, knowing the project has to be done, have we thought about where we're gonna get the 15.5 from?
I mean, I would say it's gonna be the same thing. I mean, it's gonna have to come from the budget.
Is there water and sewer pipes that go underneath too?
This one may justify coming out of the fund balance, because it is part of that project, where we say it's not emergency, but it's a rainy
just
day
wanna-
is here.
I just didn't know if we had it, if we can squeeze something out of the
Yeah.
budget, I'm gonna squeeze that maybe.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying you can't take 15,000 out of the budget, but I mean, we're all trying to save for the spider truck, let's face the fact. So that's 15 grand, it's not gonna go into fund balance if we take it out. So, either way you look at it, yeah, we can take it out of this year's budget, but
Something else fine.
it's not gonna go in fund balance. So I mean, you're spending 15 grand, how you look at it?
Basically shuffling it.
Well, This project has to get done because this board just voted to close the street down tonight, so I'm gonna make a motion, we move forward with the proposal for professional services for the Seward Street culvert replacement for $15,500.
I have a motion from trustee Rittenhouse, a second from trustee Humphrey to go ahead and approve the professional studies from MRB for the Seward Street culvert replacement, $15,500. Any further discussion? Trustee Nagel?
Aye.
Trustee Zay?
Aye.
Trustee Rittenhouse?
Aye.
Trustee Humphrey? The mayor's an aye. Okay. Get the old pen out this week.
Well, I knew we'd outlast.
You're leaving already? We still got more.
I know.
Election night.
You could've, was there any big races?
There's
Just
five.
the mayor down in Geneseo. Dick
Who was running
Hathaway.
for it? Hathaway was running against who?
Margaret Duff.
There's five, Caledonia, Geneseo, Malmore, Nunde, Malmore, Lester, maybe.
I would say Geneseo is probably the big one.
Riveting.
Names. go.
Riveting.
A lot of signs up and
So
down
you,
there.
Genesee Country
Weird.
Express, I just
Yeah.
got one question if you don't mind before we left. So the Spectator and the LCN both did things on kids' basketball and sports teams and all that. How come the Genesee Country Express doesn't do anything like that?
Don't have a sports
Probably
editor.
budget.
Huh?
Probably budget.
Okay, good
Yeah.
call. Yeah, our budget messes up stuff too,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
as you were.
Yeah.
They've all got a sports editor, sports writer.
Nice to see you on
They
board.
don't.
Yeah, good to see you back.
Yeah, so anyway, yeah, once in a while, so.
You have
All right.
trouble, would you?
I'll try, maybe. See you later.
Have a good night.
We'll see
Give
you.
my regards to your family.
All right, thank you.
Motion
Yep.
to go past 9 o'clock. Oh, you're on the wrong side of the room for that. Just relax.
Have a motion from trustee Rittenhouse to extend our meeting beyond 9 o'clock. Do I have a second from trustee Nagel? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Thank you very much.
I can see it too, it's right in my right eye. So I look at the mirror, I see the clock.
See out of your left eye, too.
Yeah.
Depends how far you turn.
Okay. All right. Now we're looking at the hydraulic model for Bradner Creek. Proposal of $30,000 there.
I just don't think we're ready to move forward with that at this
I
point.
would probably agree with you 100% on that.
Table that on a different table, maybe a little bit bigger table, a little bit further down the line with the other table.
Yeah. Okay.
And the
And
next one, I think, well, I don't know, the next one let's discuss.
that would be coming out of the water fund. No, that's the
It's a
sewage.
sewer
It's sewage.
fund.
So that one possibly affordable there.
Is that something
Probably
that,
should move forward with. I
Yeah.
don't want to spend the 13 grand, but again, you gotta go to the DEC. You approve it, because it's such a beautiful thing.
okay, so now let's just say we spend the 13 grand to move forward to get all of this in place. What would that project cost, and where would that project, how would that project be funded?
Out of that, there's a line item for pump station.
Is there enough in one line item from 1 year to handle that
Nothing in this district, you know.
in this budget year?
Now that that big excavator's here, that's another tag, and we look at we can, now we can do the work with that, lifting it, cover off, and back on, you don't have to go rain into that, so that'll be good for that.
But this money's in it.
Yeah, this is, yeah.
Sewer fund's pretty strong shape. The water fund is not so great.
To make this motion, we move forward then.
Okay, and I will say this, sorry, because
Too soon.
there's money in that, but this engineering comes out of engineering, so we'll do a budget line, like do some pump station to engineering, just so that's clear. I don't want to get ready and say, well, you said there was money that's there, it's gotta be moved on.
Okay.
Okay.
No budget
And
matters.
my motion to include the budget modification.
Well, you can't vote on that until it's presented, but you'll learn. You're getting there, but it's still coming around the corner. We're the two guys on the Muppets.
Two old guys, you mean? Okay, well, we do have
I'll
fun.
second Norm's motion.
I have a motion from trustee Zay and a motion and a second from trustee Rittenhouse on the pump study, 13,000. Am I correct? Okay,
$13,000.
that's what I've got. Okay, any further discussion on that? ready to vote. Trustee Nagel.
Aye.
Trustee Zay.
Aye.
Trustee Rittenhouse.
Aye.
Trustee Humphrey.
Aye.
Mayor's an aye, okay. Oh, like I say, I guess we can, next one there, we can hold off on. We need to appoint Toma Development Consultants as the, or approve them as the rental grant administrator.
I'll make that motion.
Okay? They're the only ones that put a proposal in. Okay, we have a motion from trustee Humphrey. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from trustee Rittenhouse. Discussion? Trustee Nagel?
Aye.
Trustee Zay?
Aye.
Trustee Rittenhouse?
Aye.
Trustee Humphrey?
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye. And there's one item I did skip. Going back up to unfinished business, I apologize. Get ahead of myself. That's ahead of myself. That's the water sewer clerk position. Anybody give any thought what we want to do with that? And I'm not talking about the person to fill it. I'm talking about what we want to do with it. I'd just say leave it alone for now.
I was just gonna say the same thing. Just leave it for now.
Anybody got any heartache with that? See, you're all just jumping at it, biting at the bit.
For as long as.
I was already told I talked
Keep the ship afloat, I mean, that's, cause
My proposal was counting on having a part-time person in there, you know, not just two full-time people. So I guess it would depend whether or not I feel I would be able to do that.
Well, someone's gonna be doing it soon.
well, it's the issue, I mean, you're
Yeah.
gonna be into another month of,
So the
Pretty
deal
sure
is, you know, with my proposal, you know, I'm willing to work extra, you know, if it's gonna be for the betterment of the community. You know, but for my own health, if I don't have something from you guys, some sort of a deadline of when some of that would be lifted from me, I don't know if I can commit, you know, without more information, more commitment, I guess, from you guys.
it's just, it's tough timing because it's contract time,
And that's just, I
I
want,
mean,
that's
that's
my,
the issue, I mean, I really do think that's, because right now it's tough timing, it's really hard. There's a lot of unanswered stuff with that, I mean, it's,
and the problem is there's nothing says that's gonna get settled anytime soon.
right?
No, there's not anything that says it will get settled soon. Could be just the opposite quite sometimes. And then where it goes. I'm reading my tea leaves correctly, it's probably gonna go for a while. But we can't expect, you know, current situation to go on and on and on. I mean, I'm not talking about current situation, what's gonna occur, we're gonna end up with 2 people left on it. It was a lot of work. And and the fewer people you have, the greater the chances of mistakes. Because it's gonna be just rush, rush, rush.
You have a proposal, what you'd like to see done?
No, not really. Other than I would leave it at this point, 3 people.
Right.
Means we'd have to fill that position with a union worker. That'd be probably the fastest way to get it filled, taken care of. It's not what we were thinking
Can
about.
we assign that, whatever grade level we want, or does that have to come through contract negotiations?
And that would have to be changed through the contract at this point.
And now, that position.
Well, I take that back. There's some argument about that. Remember, we could change the position as far as part-time, full-time goes. I'm not 100% sure about whether or not it could be non-union.
We're not
They
saying
could still have
non-union.
they could still have union part-timers.
Yeah, that wasn't the question. My question is more of, someone walking in the door and starting out in a position where the last person who worked for 30 years ended up, you know, in that pay.
Talking about a step system. It's,
Well,
have them
that
start out
or
lower.
what, I mean, we set what the steps are at through the contract.
Yeah.
Because our steps for, let's say, the account clerk typist is maybe not the same as what the, a grade whatever is not the same in the county as it is in the village, correct? We set that step.
Right.
So, I mean, if we want to move forward with that, but
Well, that's one of the things that we sort of, I wouldn't say tabled, but haven't finalized yet with the union.
that can get
As
done.
part of the negotiation is that tiered system, and I would just soon at least get the lower ones figured out first, and then they can argue, I guess, about the rest, but if we agreed to have the water and sewer clerk starting out at the lower step, and maybe the laborers as well. I'm not sure how we want to work that, because I haven't really studied it in any detail yet. But that's where we need to start. And there's nothing that says we can't do that. I said, we've already talked to the union about it, but
well, there's only one at that level. So if we say the account clerk typist is, right now, let's just say it's $20, and we decide that, hey, that account clerk typist is going to be, that grade is going to be $15. I mean, that's just that you can settle that through an MOU, even going through, so that we can move forward with the position. Because that's what it is. It's an account clerk typist. It's not specialty to anything else.
right.
And also, as an account clerk typist, you set the parameters for what that position is responsible, the responsibilities, and I think as the hierarchy, even though it's a union position, they could still answer to the clerk of the village, correct?
Yeah.
So I mean, that, we could set that all up so it still looks the same and still stay at this point with the same, if you still stay with the 3 people. I mean, but I mean, that's something, I think, that's the biggest step is that I don't think that could be a position of that starting out.
I think we all agree on that.
And that's a holdup. Plus, we want to make sure that we have it laid out, the duties of that position. And I don't know if we could have them drawn up as what we would like the duties of that position to be, to encompass to say that this is what it's going to be. So if there's nothing going on in the water and sewer at that point, and there's things in the clerk's office that need to be accomplished, that would be a...
And who the direct supervisor is to assign those tasks.
Day-to-day supervision and all that. I mean, is that what you're thinking?
I'm happy to do job descriptions. Is that what you mean? I actually have that on my punch list for you guys. You guys could ask for it. So,
Yeah, we're just kind of looking at all the thought process and everything I just kind of said.
yeah, I mean, I gave my proposal already, so you all know where I stand. But I'll support what your decision is. I mean, the job needs to get done either way, so I'll support the decision. I do agree with you on the salary, because if you hire somebody at what it is right now, then you're gonna run into the same issue of finding somebody else outside of the office to oversee that position. We're gonna have the same troubles and different things that were pointed out in the audit that we've encountered in the past.
So there's a few
I guess
hurdles.
my opinion was I just kind of wanted to slow it down, get somebody in there part-time, just feel how it is with that, you know what I mean, with 2 full-time and 1 part-time, because we put somebody in full-time and we put them in a union position, I mean, we're pretty much, down the road we say, again, well, we really don't need 3 full-timers, and if I'm suggesting that as a taxpayer as well, I'm gonna say, well, then why are we gonna pay 3 full-timers? So I guess my recommendation was to put a part-timer in there, see how it is for a few months, and I said, I may come back to you guys and say, there's no way, I can't do this with 2.5, but we don't know that. We did it before, and and once I was trained and, I knew what my job responsibilities were, we were comfortable for a little while. And it worked fine. I mean, no one has said anything, wow, I see you guys doing such a better job since you have 3 full-time when before you had 2.5, So the work's getting done just the same as it was when you had less, I guess, hours. So I guess that's my whole point, is I just thought we could get somebody on there, let me start training somebody, but not promise the world, start them out at part-time. figure out what we're doing. That's all.
I think it's a,
You're looking at part-time, how much
table
payroll
for
hours?
that. That, we
I
want
was
to
looking for 24.
talk it over a little bit here, see what's more of that, and what we come up with.
It's hard, 'cause you don't even know what you're gonna advertise the pay is gonna be. It's gonna be hard, because how do you, I mean, if they go, wow, look at what they're paying now, then all of a sudden it's not the pay. You know,
We get something on paper, what we want to do.
it's really not easy time, that's the problem with it. Let's see here.
Our next meeting with the CSEA is on the 2nd.
Maybe by the department head.
When's the next billing cycle for water?
It's in the process of going on right now.
You know, and, you know, and that's the other thing is, you know, I will already, Karen's not even gone, and I will already be in here this weekend taking base charges out of the software program that I haven't even been trained on yet. And I'm not complaining, I'm just suggesting, you know, this is gonna be a big undertaking for me. So the sooner we at least have a plan of commitment, the better.
Problem
You
is,
know,
we can't plan and commit right now.
You know, and that's okay, I'm just saying the sooner, the better.
And I can't even sit here and say in the planning committee that that a part-time position is what that's gonna be.
Right.
It may be a full-time position, but our issue is that we don't feel that at $28 an hour is where a starting position should ever be in that position. So we're looking at it as if that is a full-time job, it's gotta get reset back down to whatever it is, but that's going through contract negotiations. I mean, so we can't sit and say,
Well, you know, I guess another question, I guess which would be pretty valid, is should I even be coming in and doing this water sewer stuff? Or is there somebody else that should be doing it? Because the base charges, they need to be removed from the law that was just passed, need to be removed because nobody else is doing it. You know, and I asked Karen to do it, and she didn't do it, and bills got printed, and now those are being stuffed, and they're preparing to go out in the mail. So am I not supposed to do it, and then I'm stuck doing adjustments in April, or is somebody else going to do it? I guess that's a good question. Am I doing it, or is somebody else doing it? And I don't have a problem with doing it, you know, but then also I don't want someone to say, well, why did you do this?
who's someone else if you didn't do it?
I don't know. That would be you guys telling me.
Well, the way it is right now, I say leave it alone. What you got is what you got. Whatever we're doing right now, that's the way it's going until the next cycle.
Get through this cycle.
So then, do you guys want to, can you rescind the law?
Don't have to be sitting alone.
It's
Right in the middle of it.
Form anyway.
It's the way it's working right now, is the way it's working until the next cycle. That's all we're saying. It became too late in the process. We're not messing with it. And that's the way it goes forward.
So then if somebody brings it to our attention, if they're building an additional base charge, we'll just pass it up to the board.
Can do that.
Is that right?
Yeah, if you're prorated anyway, you're talking
Yeah.
a couple weeks.
No, a base rate is billed ahead. The base rate is for
Mhm.
April, May, and June. So per the law, we shouldn't be billing it, but that's fine if that's what I'm being directed to do.
I don't see how that matters because we haven't gotten approval yet on that law. And it doesn't go into effect until the law has been approved by the state.
I'm sure their stamp was on it probably yesterday or today.
Don't know that.
I don't suggest we wait until.
And we've
after.
already done the billing. So it's too late.
How many are we talking?
I guess I didn't ever look at it. I think Scott suggested 20.
I agree with Pete, I mean, the bills are done.
I don't agree with leaving everything until the last minute.
No, but
We'll
what I'm
have
saying
to
is,
work-
Maggie, we had this conversation, I agree with Pete. The bills were generated, the law has not been approved yet, so they go out. And it gets taken care of the next quarter. I don't see an issue there. Myself, I just don't.
Well, that's because you gotta put
So
down
then,
a couple hundred and.
If tomorrow I pull up the bill stamp, or the law stamp received by the state, I should send it off and then maybe there'll be a different decision made.
No, it stays the way it is. It came in the mid-course of the transition.
Already occurred.
It already,
Well, the bills are already printed, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're already.
the process is in, that we've reached the process where the billing period technically ended, and we're into the new one already. We just got this paper lag that comes up because of the time it takes to prepare it. I don't see where that's an issue. And we can get wrapped around the law too much, and we're gonna be seeing double. It just makes common sense. If you don't have the word until after you've done everything, then you keep going as it was. There's no date on there that says when that goes into effect. We just know that when we are notified, we hadn't been notified as of the time we did the calculations. So there's no need to go into that at this point. Next quarter around, then you go into it. You're in a transition. There's no way you can help that.
Well, the next
That's
bill-
my opinion,
Well,
anyway.
the next bill cycle comes along, and that comes back from the state, we're obligated.
Next time around, yeah. Well, we know about it at this point.
Right now, we don't, so.
But before, we didn't even approve the law until what, last month? Assuming it's been approved by the state, registered and everything. But again, you're assuming.
And at this point, we'll have Karen make changes, because now the building's done. She can make a change in the computer for the next
Yeah.
quarter. It can be done this week, it should be fine. So it'll be one less thing.
Check it, see if it is tomorrow, and then that starts it all over.
If someone comes in, we'll address it.
It's not like, you're only talking 25, you know, I guess, I'm sure it's a pain to fix them, but if they come in and we'll fix it.
Yeah, it turns out to be a problem, you can always go backwards.
But then that creates more work on one individual.
You're gonna do the work either way, whether you back it out tomorrow or you back it out later, right? I mean, it's still gonna get backed out.
Yeah.
When you come in over a weekend, you do it after the billing cycle comes out, it's gonna get done one way or the other. But the computer work, if it's there, can at least be done by Karen, you won't have to come in on your weekend and back them out, right?
Just talking about,
Right?
we're
I
just,
would imagine doing the adjustments is gonna be more work than just doing it right from the beginning, but I'm done commenting, so.
the way I look at it. Most of the place I've gone, that's usually how it's worked. Until the official word has been given, you're in the old system. Keep moving.
Do we go around Toma?
Hmm?
Did I miss that? Do we go around Toma?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
That's right, the notes here, on the Toma thing.
Yeah.
I'm writing my notes.
Is there any way to have a special meeting with the union to try to work through some sort of MOU or whatever we're gonna do with that position and kind of pull that out and say this is something it's gonna be beneficial for them? It's kind of outside of the whole general scope of the whole contract. That's something that, you know, should probably be met a little earlier, you know what I'm saying? I don't think that's something that we really wanna push off too long.
No, that's why we got it there. So we can make a decision.
But unfortunately, we can't make a decision on it without the other parts of that being in place, you know? At least kind of feed that to them, that, hey, this is a position that we're trying to work through. Are you willing to sit down and work through this position? I mean, it's still gonna remain,
Well, we can ask Matt and that tomorrow if they would want to do that. I'll see him. Him come see me. All right.
and then if you work on the duties and all that, so that we can have everything presented.
Hey, what time's the CSEA going? On the second?
It's at 10 o'clock on the second.
Florida, just wanted to throw that back at you guys.
Are you going to Florida today?
Yeah,
Why don't you just tell us you're going to Florida?
I'll take it.
First I've heard of it.
Okay, that being said. I would say, a summary of the action list items that have been added. I guess this will start where we're at now, unless there's some other business anybody would like to discuss.
Just one quick thing on the box culvert. Do we have to have a motion from the board to go for the RFP? If that's the way we have to go, so we can do that work. We really don't have time to wait till the next month.
I make a motion that you guys work on this tomorrow, and if we don't have to, but I make a motion that if we have to, then we go ahead with the RFP.
Okay,
I'll second.
a motion from trustee Rittenhouse and a second from trustee Humphrey to go ahead and approve the RFP for the, yeah, unless we come up with something different tomorrow, contingent on that.
Yep, and we're all gonna meet on Saturday, so if we have to discuss something, can we do it then? Is there like a special something?
As long as there's enough advance, it's not an emergency.
Okay, now then I'll just, if necessary, to move forward
Because
with the RFP.
we're doing it as a workshop for
Yeah.
the budget, so that's a little bit
Okay.
different.
All right.
So we got that. And
culvert thing is an emergency type of thing in my book, and whatever we can do to get it fixed, let's do it.
Okay, trustee Nagel,
Aye.
trustee Zay,
Aye.
trustee Rittenhouse,
Aye.
trustee Humphrey.
Aye.
Mayor's an aye. Okay.
Who has the second?
This side.
We handle the big stuff.
Okay, any community comments? I don't see any community. Okay, that being said, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing union negotiations.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Now 9:25.
That's faster than I thought we were gonna be here.
We're not done yet.
Yeah, we are. I am.
No public action, well, there won't be any action taken on tonight. So nobody needs to hang around. Have a good evening.
See you later.